In the late 19th century, a type of literature known as realism emerged as a reaction to the idealism and optimism of Romantic literature. Realism sought to describe life as it is, without ornament or glorification. The Necklace, an example of realist fiction, tells the story of an average woman who pays a significant price to experience a glamorous evening. As in all realist fiction, there is no fairy tale ending. Summary of the story. The story, The Necklace, is about a young woman named Mathilde Loisel, who is obsessed with wealth and social status. It is a cautionary tale about the dangers of vanity and materialism. It also explores the themes of loss, regret, and redemption. Mathilde Loisel is a beautiful woman who thinks her family is not rich. She got married to a lowly clerk in the Ministry of Education, and they live a simple life. Mathilde really feels sad about being poor. She wishes she had a better life and often thinks about it. Even though her husband is happy with their simple dinner, she dreams of having big, fancy meals with rich friends. She doesn't have any fancy things like expensive jewelry or clothes, but she thinks having them would make her feel better about herself. She has one rich friend, Madame Forestier, but doesn't want to see her because it makes her sad. One evening, her husband comes back home excitedly with an invitation to a fancy party from his work. He hopes Mathilde will be happy about going, but she gets mad and starts crying. She explains that she has nothing nice to wear and suggests he should give the invitation to someone else with better clothes. Her husband is upset and asks how much a good dress would cost. After thinking, she says 400 francs would be enough. Though her husband is hesitant, he agrees to give her the money. As the party gets closer, Mathilde starts acting strangely. She says she's upset because she doesn't have any fancy jewelry. Her husband suggests she wears flowers instead, but she doesn't want to. He then asks her to borrow something from Madame Forestier. Madame Forestier kindly lends Mathilde a diamond necklace, and Mathilde feels really thankful for her help. During the party, everyone notices how beautiful Mathilde looks, and she loves all the attention. At 4 a.m., she finds her husband dozing in an empty room. He covers her shoulders with a wrap and asks her to wait inside out of the cold while he gets a cab. But she feels embarrassed by the shabby wrap and goes outside with him. They walk for a bit before finding a cab. When they come back home, Mathilde feels very sad that the night is over. When she takes off her wrap, she realizes that her necklace is missing. Monsieur Loisel goes outside in a panic to look for it where they had been. She sits anxiously waiting for him. He comes back home much later, even more worried because he couldn't find the necklace. He tells her to write a letter to Madame Forestier, explaining that the necklace's clasp is broken and they're getting it fixed. They keep looking for the necklace. After a week, Monsieur Loisel decides they need to find a new one. They go to many jewelry stores searching for something similar and eventually find one. It costs 40,000 francs, but the jeweler agrees to sell it for 36,000. The Loisels spend a week gathering money from different places, even using their future as a guarantee. After 3 days, Monsieur Loisel buys the necklace. When Mathilde gives the necklace back to Madame Forestier is annoyed at how long it took, but doesn't open the case to check. Mathilde feels relieved. The Loisels start living in extreme poverty. They let go of their servant and move to a smaller apartment. Monsieur Loisel works 3 jobs, and Mathilde does all the hard housework. This difficult life goes on for 10 years, but they manage to pay back their debts. Mathilde's exceptional beauty fades away, and she looks like any other woman from a poor family. Both of them are exhausted and deeply affected by the tough years they endured. On a Sunday, Mathilde sees Madame Forestier while walking. She goes up to her and says hello. Madame Forestier doesn't recognize her at first, but when Mathilde tells her who she is, Madame Forestier is surprised by her appearance. Mathilde tells her how she lost the necklace, got a new one, and worked hard for 10 years to pay for it. In the end, Madame Forestier clasps her hands and reveals that the original necklace was only fake and not valuable.
Appearance versus reality. The story explores how appearance can be deceiving and how people can be different from what they seem. Social class. The story highlights the differences between the upper and lower classes and how these differences can impact a person's life. Materialism. The story shows how the desire for material possessions can lead to misery and dissatisfaction. Pride. The stories explore the dangers of pride and how it can lead to downfall. Selfishness. The story highlights the negative consequences of selfishness and how it can hurt others. Envy. The story shows how envy can lead to destructive behavior and cause harm to oneself and others. Illusion and reality. The stories emphasize the importance of distinguishing between illusion and reality and the consequences of failing to do so.
The necklace analysis. The necklace symbolizes the superficial value Mathilde places on appearances. Its true worth, or lack thereof, represents the emptiness of her desires. The ball symbolizes Mathilde's fleeting taste of life she craves. Her moment of triumph is short-lived, emphasizing the transitory nature of superficial pleasure. Literary devices used. Irony. The situational irony at the story's conclusion is its most memorable feature. The revelation about the necklace redefines the entire narrative. Foreshadowing. Subtle hints, such as Madame Forestier's casual attitude when lending the necklace, suggest it might not be as valuable as Mathilde's beliefs. Characterizations. Mathilde's inner dissatisfaction and superficial values are developed through her thoughts and actions, creating a complex, flawed protagonist. The moral lessons of the story. Contentment. The story emphasizes the importance of appreciating everyone's life and circumstances. Mathilde's discontent leads to her downfall. Honesty. If Mathilde had been honest about losing the necklace, she and her husband would have avoided years of hardship. The danger of pride. Pride prevents Mathilde from acknowledging her mistake and asking for help, illustrating how it can exacerbate problems.
Guy de Maupassant was a French author born on August 5, 1850, in the town of Tourville-sur-Argus, Normandy. He was born into a family wealth, and his mother was a cultured woman who had a great influence on his upbringing. She was an avid reader, and her love for literature was passed down to G. However, his parent marriage was not a happy one, and their constant fighting left him with the tumultuous childhood. It was during this time that he began to develop his love for writing as a way to escape the turmoil at home. He moved to Paris to study law, but it did not take long for him to realize that his true passion was in writing. He started submitting his short stories and article to newspaper and magazine. And it wasn't long before he began to gain recognition for his work. His first published story, Vol de Soap, was an instant success, and it marked the beginning of his career as a writer. His writing style was characterized by realism and naturalism, with a focus on the darker aspect of human nature, including the themes of madness, obsession, and betrayal. He wanted to capture the complexities of human behavior and emotion, and he was known for his ability to do so in a way that resonate with readers. He is the best known for his short stories, which are characterized by their realism, irony, and psychological depth. His famous work include Biami, Fairy Engines, and The Necklace. His writing was heavily influenced by the French realist movement, which emphasized the importance of depicting everyday life in a realistic and unvarnished way. Despite his success as a writer, his personal life was often tumultuous. He had numerous love affairs, and his health began to deteriorate due to the syphilis infection. In 1891, at the age of 41, he attempted suicide by slitting his throat. Although he survived the attempt, his mental and physical health continued to decline, and he eventually passed away on July 6, 1893, at the age of 42. Looking back in his life, he is proud of the legacy he has left behind. His work have been translated into numerous languages, and they continue to be read and studied around the world. His life and work serve as a reminder of the power of storytelling to capture the human experience and the enduring nature of great literature.